Here we go. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Take Heart Birches. I hope you can tell how excited I am about this course and how excited I am that you are here with me. I have been making birch trees for a long time now, and the very first time that I made them was actually in preparation for a tutorial that I made for Take Heart, the very first tutorial. I remember the feeling after I got off the Zoom call with the very first cohort, realizing that I had to sit and press send and send that very first tutorial out into the world to those 8 people. And since then, about 40 people have painted birch trees in their art journal as a result of that very first beginner artwork that I made with birch trees. And even though Take Heart has grown so much in the last year and a half, one thing has stayed the same. I am still painting birch trees. I have made them in so many different ways, so many different styles, and sometimes I love what I make, sometimes I don't. But one thing has eluded me the whole time. I could never quite figure out the meaning of birch trees to me. And this summer, for the very first time, I realized what birch trees are in my life, in my memory, and why I've been painting them. And so Take Heart Birches is all about examining the narrative of our lives. We're going to do 3 different projects: past, present, future, and we're going to use birch trees as our subject. And as we look at the story of our lives, we're going to see what we can learn from birch trees, what we can learn from each other, what we can learn from making art. The secret of Take Heart is that art is actually not the main focus. It's the tool that has helped me so much in a search for deeper connection with God and with others. And so that's the vision of Take Heart always, is facilitating this connection with God and with each other. And so if you're on a spiritual journey, this course is for you. If you're on an artistic journey, this is for you. And if you are on a journey of wanting to connect with other people, this course is for you. So the purpose of today is to give you an introduction to the course and to tell you a little bit more what to expect. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is actually supplies. So I have done the supplies a little differently for this course, and I want to explain so that you totally understand moving forward which supplies to get and what you need and what you don't. So for each project, I am going to make 2 lists, and one list is going to be what you need. And so that's going to be the basics that you need for that project. So for the very first project, you are going to need cardboard, you're going to need some ribbon, you're going to need some paper. And then there's going to be another list, and it's going to be a list of exactly what I used. Some people really love to know the exact things that their teacher is using, and so that is where I will link the exact brands of the paint, the colors of the paint, the brush that I'm using, the frame that I use at the end, things like that. And what I wanted to clarify is that you do not need the exact things that I have. In fact, my goal is always that you can use what you have, maybe needing to buy 1 or 2 things here and there. I want this to be affordable and doable for everybody, and so If you have cardboard and ribbons and glue, like, you are all set for the first project. If you're watching and you're like, I want Farrell's exact ribbons and exact glue, then I got you covered there too. So I hope that makes sense. I also wanted to mention any of my links that are Amazon links are affiliate, so at no cost to you. I get a commission when you buy from those links, but you could also use that link just to get the information you need to get that art supply somewhere else. So somewhere I love to shop, for example, is Michael's, where you get rewarded with vouchers based on how much you're spending there. And so if you knew that's a place near me where I can always go grab supplies, you might want to get some sort of a membership there, or wherever your local art store is. You can still use those links just to get the information if there's something you want to get exactly. Now that we have talked about supplies, I want to tell you a little bit more about what we're going to be doing this week. This week, you are going to have your very first Zoom call, and before you come to the Zoom call, there's no art to make, but I do want you to gather your supplies for the very first project. So here it is. I hope you can see that it's some 3D birch trees here. This project is so much fun. Anyone can do it. I cannot wait to see what you come up with. But the hardest part of the whole thing is gathering supplies. It's not because the supplies are tricky or expensive or hard to find. It's actually because I want you to kind of gather from what you have. And I often find the very hardest step of creating is getting started. And so this means if you gather all your supplies and you have them ready, you're going to have nothing holding you back the week after. You're going to be all ready to sit down and create your very first birch trees. Our substrate this very first week is actually cardboard. That is what is underneath these trees. So the substrate that we will have each week will be a little bit different, and that is just the surface that you're creating on. And I'm using cardboard on purpose so that you know you do not need to go buy fancy canvases. Even though I will be using canvases in some of the other projects, I want to be constantly giving you ideas and inspiration for easy and simple supplies that you can use. So you're going to need cardboard this week. And I will show you exactly what else to gather together. And then I decided to frame mine in a shadow box. And so this step is something that is at your discretion. You can decide what you want to do with your trees when you are done, and I will give you lots of options for that. So no need to have a shadow box this week on the Zoom call, but if you can gather your cardboard and then the other things that I'm about to show you, you are going to have gotten the hardest part over with, and you're going to be all ready to create. All right, I'm about to show you exactly what I used for my project. We're going to start with some cardboard and some white copy paper. And as you can see, it's imperfect. There's stuff on the back. This is what I will be using for glue. It's called matte gel. I use this for lots of my mixed media art. It's like a clear acrylic paint, and it traps whatever you want on the inside. We got some scissors, and then now for the fun part. These are mixed media trees, so let me show you all the things I use to create my birch trees. First, I'm going to be using paper, and as you can see, these are just little scraps that I had lying around that are black and white. So I have cutouts from a magazine, I have some collage paper, I have bingo cards from when my son played bingo at school, and I even have the torn out page of an old book. The next thing that I'm going to show you is the fabric. Now, for some of you, this might be what you have the most of, black and white fabric. And then finally, I will show you the black and white string that I have. I have yarn, so if you have black or white yarn, you could use it. And I have lots and lots of ribbons. So you can use black and white paper, you can use black and white fabric, you can use black and white ribbons, and then here are some of the little special things that I'm at the end. So if you have anything like that around that you want to use, you can go ahead. So let's say that you have none of these things. You can make your own collage paper, and even though I have a lot of black and white scraps to work with, I really wanted to spend time and journal. And so you may guess from my prompt, God, where are you right now? This is going to be the piece of art that we make for our present. So if you decide to fill a piece of copy paper with your black writing, you can go ahead and start ripping that up. We are going to do this with all of the fun supplies that we just gathered, including this page from a book. I promise this is a kid's version of lots of different stories. I think this one's an Oliver twist. So since it's the kids' version, I don't feel too bad ripping it up, and it looks really cool. So what I am doing is ripping these in about the width of what I'm expecting my cardboard birch trees to be. So I'm showing you all the collage that I have gathered, and now I'm going to take out some of my ribbons and I am going to do the same sorting process with them. Part of what I want to do though is make these a little more interesting for my project, so I'm going to purposefully cut them up and fray them, and all of this texture, like the strings that are dangling, the different widths, the different thicknesses, all of it ends up looking so cool when it's all put together. So I am gonna just kind of mess up and age all of the ribbon that I have to give it some personality. Now, even though this video shows a super sped up version of me gathering all these supplies and cutting them all up, it took me a while to really make the effort and gather everything and put it together. And so that is your job this week. You can do the journal prompt on a piece of paper with a black marker, and you can gather all your little treasures that you are going to use for this project. If you're going to buy anything, now would be a good time to do it, but try to use what you have. If you've got a big collection of yarn or of fabric or of magazines or of old books that you're done with, this is their time to shine. So look at this beautiful layout. Dare I say, they already kind of look like birch trees. I can kind of see it. Congratulations on the bravery it took you to watch this video, to start this course, and to gather all of your fun supplies for our very first Birches mixed media project. I'll see you on Zoom.